Y'all ready for this?
Wow. That was nice.
That was good.
Hello, and welcome to You Write, the podcast where creativity meets community.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
Each week on You Write, we challenge our listeners to write a story in just 30 minutes using 3 of 5 randomly generated words.
It's a fun and fast-paced exercise to spark your imagination and get those creative juices flowing.
We'll read your submissions, offer feedback, and discuss the unique twists and turns of each story.
Whether you're an aspiring author or just love a good tale, You Write is your place to explore the endless possibilities of storytelling.
So grab your Talon, get comfortable, and let's dive into this week's stories.
And remember, the only 2 limits are your imagination and 30 minutes. Let's see what you got.
Woo!
A talon?
Yeah.
Like a claw?
Yeah.
What do you write? How would that work?
I do this all the time. You don't do this?
No. Sorry, no.
You scrape, you just like gouge something, scrape something into whatever surface you're working with your talon. I've done it for my whole life.
With your talons.
Yes. And just to be clear, I have very short nails. Very, very short, but I still consider them talons.
Okay. Okay.
And, you know, if you're somewhere and you want to write a message, but you don't have a, official writing utensil, you just whip out your talon.
Yeah, okay.
And carve into whatever surface.
Yeah, carve.
Right.
Yeah.
Be that a desk, a wooden desk. I could carve something into this, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, please don't.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Could be a wooden desk, could be a rock, could be, like a rock wall.
Yeah. Then wouldn't that hurt?
Yeah.
Terribly?
No.
Just mildly?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth it.
It's fine though. Okay.
It's totally worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you say.
That is how I say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, did you see the extraordinary turnout that we had this week?
I did, and I was blown away.
Genuinely blown away.
Literally.
Literally?
I literally was blown away.
Just swept off your feet. No.
Like on Mary Poppins?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Just like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That happened, and it was super fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You doing okay after that?
Yeah. I'm doing great.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
I was very excited about the turnout.
And I suppose since we have so much ground to cover, want to just jump into it?
Let's just jump right on in.
Mm-hmm. So, whose story are we reading this week?
We actually are going to be reading Successful Read 6361.
Yes, we are.
And we're going to read both stories of Successful Read 6361.
Yeah. Figured since they're not terribly long, let's go ahead and get them both.
Right. So, as you may have already guessed, Matt and I are going to divvy them up.
Correct.
Yes.
And so up first will be Rachel reading Out of Sight, Out of Mind by Successful Read 6361.
The streetlight flickered once, then everything went dark. The room was silent against the anger of the pouring rain. I felt safe wrapped in my blanket, snuggled into my favorite spot on the window bench. The lights flickered back to life, illuminating the room in warmth. The continuation of rain slowed until it was a soft drizzle. Small raindrops kissed the window. Some crashed into one another, absorbing, making themselves bigger, heavier, and faster. Some tried to outrun others, attempting to avoid being devoured. A race against the inevitable. I select a drop and let my finger follow its trail down the pane. A heavy sigh leaves my lips. Warm air meets the cold surface, fogging the glass. I stare out through the distorted image, absorbed in the way it lingers, then all at once succumbing, clearing within seconds. Something flickers in and out of my view, catching my attention and tickling my brain with a faded memory. I use my sleeve to wipe away the remaining moisture. The absence of something is all I see. I can't resist the feeling that there should be something present. Like I could or should see something there. Or maybe the lack of one thing was replaced with something else. Like maybe there is something that shouldn't be there. It's like my subconscious knows something is supposed to be there or not be there. Like if I could recognize the thing that is or isn't missing, it would release this locked memory. So I just stare and stare at the thing that should or shouldn't be there, trying to remember if I could or should see it.
All right. What'd you think?
I thought it was a really good description of a sensation that I think people feel sometimes.
Yeah, like something on the tip of your tongue,
Mm-hmm.
Something right there at the back of your mind, but you just can't quite recall it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like it is like akin to, but not the same as deja vu.
Yeah.
Like you remember, you feel like there should be something there, but there isn't. It's not the same thing, but I feel like it's similar.
Yeah, it's like maybe the other side of that coin of deja vu is this uncanny lack of something.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm with you. There's some really great descriptions in here. I really like that we cover the way that the water runs down glass and how you imagine the drops racing each other. I feel like that's something everyone has done, like as a child or at some point. You just sit there and watch water on a window.
Yeah.
And trying to guess like which one is going to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a race.
Yeah, that was a fun memory because I was like, yeah, I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that.
Totally.
It's been some time, but yeah, I've done that.
I've done that, and I watch my cats do it all the time.
They just watch rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are just like very fascinated by it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially here. Yeah,
because it's so rare.
It's such a rare occurrence.
They're like,
what is this?
What's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. The way that we're describing some of these things, it should or should not be there. It could be there, but should it be there?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much doubt in this story.
Yeah.
And confusion.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like I like this line: a heavy sigh leaves my lips, warm air meets the cold surface, fogging the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And stare out through the distorted image, absorbed in the way it lingers, then all at once succumbing.
Yeah.
Clearing within seconds. It's a good description of just that, your breath fogging the glass.
Yeah.
And then just kind of the imagery that we get there, I felt is a great way to describe all of that.
I concur.
And then the kind of thoughts that follow that is where we kind of get this lack of memory.
Right. And honestly, this to me seems like kind of like a younger person thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, for me at least, and I think for other people too, when I was younger, it's like I was wanting something significant to happen. Like wanting, to matter or for something important, even like weird or whatever happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of like, I don't know, validate my existence. But then once you get to, I'm not going to say a certain age, but once you experience enough things, then you're like, okay,
I've had enough of that.
I've had enough. I actually don't want something else to happen.
Because this is plenty.
Exactly. I've had quite enough. So you're almost kind of like, I'm not even going to try to look out that window and wait and ponder on what could be out there because...
Or even what should be out there.
Or what should be out there because I ain't got time for that. I don't have the bandwidth to deal with that anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like a kind of a youthful expression.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's a literary device. Is it antithesis? Seems like this is it's using antithesis to kind of express this dichotomy of a memory that is and is not there. I wrote here, it's like Schrodinger's memory. It both is and is not there until it is either uncovered or not uncovered.
Yeah.
and so it's just this weird kind of liminal state that we're in.
Right.
Which is interesting to be able to capture that middle place.
Yeah.
Yes.
The doldrums.
The doldrums.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I get that reference now.
Yeah, good.
I can't remember the title of the story, but I know that it's C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, that's Well, The Magician's Nephew.
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't remember that name.
But I actually think that because in C.S. Lewis, it's called The World Between Worlds. So I think that the doldrums is actually from A Wrinkle in Time. I could be wrong.
Oh, wow. The doldrums is a nautical term for a region near the equator where sailing ships can get stuck due to little or no wind.
Shit. And that makes sense, though.
It does, yeah.
But
and I was just thinking, I was like, maybe that isn't just from a fictional story.
Can you look and see if it's in A Wrinkle in Time? Because I think that that's where I learned that term.
This just says A Wrinkle in Time. A tesseract is a wrinkle in time that allows travel through space and time. I don't see anything in reference to doldrums.
I mean the book, A Wrinkle in Time.
Right. Yes. That's what this is referring to.
Okay. Not the actual phenomenon. Wait, is that an actual phenomenon?
A Wrinkle in Time.
Mm-hmm.
If it is, it would be strictly theoretical.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe.
Yeah. Pretty sure Einstein said that it was a real thing.
Well, that'd be like an Einstein-Rosen bridge, right?
I have no idea.
Okay, let's just say that it is.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I believe you.
For validating that.
Yeah, I totally believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Out of Sight, Out of Mind. Very interesting story. Kind of moving us through these mental wanderings. Meanderings, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's captivating and it's engaging and it leaves you asking questions.
It does.
Yeah.
But I think that the strength of this is the descriptions.
It is, yeah. And it does read very poetically.
It does.
Because there's no real plot here.
Right.
We have one character, and so it is more about capturing these emotions, these feelings. So you could call this more poetic than it is prosaic.
You could. I personally see it more as prosaic, but it has some elements of poetry.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, fascinating story.
Yes.
And we're going to go ahead and move straight on into your second story.
Yes.
Titled Dreams.
Right.
So this is Dreams.
And I think Matt's got this one. Go for it, Matt.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, get it.
The streetlight flickered once and then everything went dark. Some days, like today, were bathed in darkness. My life feels like nothing but a waking dream. A delightful hallucination. I like to dream. I like to be a dream. To dream is to be free. It is definitely, most certainly, undoubtedly to be sure, entirely. Happiness surrounds me here. It is a sticky warm on my skin, absorbing into every pore. I am unable to scrape it off. I can't resist. I soak in it. I drink it in, choking on it until my lungs burn and I am drowning in it. Never wanting to come up for air, I lay here, welcoming the suffocating effect of it. I like to dream. The awareness of being awake fills me with cold, dank, dreaded anger. Eyes wide open, hands and feet moving, nothing but a puppet. Strings being pulled by an invisible master. Waiting for someone to cut the strings, all while I'm the one holding the knife. I like to dream. Half awake, half asleep, both dead and alive. Dreaming of peace, delusions of fantasy, whimsical and wild notions of wicked whims. Oh, to be a dream. Nothing but pleasant images, forever favored, savored, and then devoured. To be scorched, marked, unforgotten. Extraordinarily remarkable. To be destroyed and reborn, enhanced to something new. Yes, I rather think I'm good at dreaming. It's the waking part I'm afraid of.
That's it.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful. And this certainly strikes me as poetic.
This is very poetic.
Very poetic.
To me, this would definitely be classified as poetry.
Yes. Yeah, just the descriptions and all of the literary devices, the rhetorical devices that we're getting in here. Anaphora, I believe, like this persistent, I like to dream, I drink, I soak, I like to dream, I like to be a dream. I feel like that's anaphora. So I just think that was interesting to constantly recall us back to these ideas and a very interesting way to move us into your story here.
Yes. I like the very detailed kind of description of dreams, you know? While I was reading it, though, I thought to myself, for me, it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Dreams versus reality, because in reality, I feel like I have more control, but in dreams, I don't. I'm just like at the mercy of the Sandman.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. At the mercy of my own twisted brain. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I guess I am feeling especially that way today because I had a pretty scary dream last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to share?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, since you asked, it's pretty creepy though. I dreamed.
All right, let's have it. Let's have it.
Okay. I dreamed that I was at some like university function or something like that.
Okay.
And there was a student there from some Arab country, but I'm not sure which. A man, like an adult student. That's important in this story.
Yes. Okay.
And he seemed kind of down, and I was like his teacher, or maybe not his teacher, but some like position of authority. And I sat in his lap facing him, like straddled him and hugged him. And then there was a table of girls from his country near us, and they were all snickering. And then I got up and he hugged me back, but then I got up and he was like, "You just crossed a line. And not only that, but all these girls from my country saw you, and you've ruined everything. Like my reputation, everything." And I was like, "Oh, no." And he was like, yeah. And he was like, I'm gonna like report you to your supervisor. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. And then I was like, also, I'm going to have to tell my boyfriend. I'm going to lose him. I'm going to lose everything just because of a hug.
A straddle hug.
A straddle, okay.
I feel like that's important context.
All right, it wasn't just a regular hug. It was a bit intimate.
Yeah.
But anyway, and it was terrifying. And then whenever I woke up, I was like, oh
my God, it was all nothing. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah, that's it's a little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect example of what poetry can do. It can elicit exactly these types of emotions that everybody is carrying.
Totally.
Just by being artistic with what you're trying to say.
Yep.
And there certainly is some artistry in here.
For sure.
This particular line, I wanted to see, to dream is to be free, followed by, it is definitely, most certainly, undoubtedly to be sure, entirely, ellipses. It's all hyperbole. For the sake of all of these adverbs that we get. What do you think of that?
To me, it just seemed like there was no word to use to describe it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very something, but I'm not sure what that something is.
Yeah. And so I like that it leaves it to the imagination of the reader.
Yeah. Totally.
Whenever I first read that, I commented and I said, what? But then I realized kind of where we were going after that. And I was like, okay. Like, I actually really like that.
Yeah.
Because dreaming is so much, is your imagination just literally running and running and running.
Yes.
And so to give us all of these adjectives and then to just let us, as the reader, decide what should fill that in is a very interesting choice. And I thought that was very artistically done.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yep. And I also really liked the description of both dead and alive.
Yes.
Because I do feel that is kind of what dreaming is like.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this feels very similar to the first story in that we're getting this kind of dichotomy.
There's a dichotomy for sure.
Yeah, the dichotomy, both dead and alive, waking and asleep. Like we're getting two sides of two coins here. It feels like.
Yeah.
Or yeah, we're kind of examining this liminal space.
Yes.
It's very interesting. And one thing that I'm especially interested in, especially from Successful Read, I'd be curious to know, because this was your second story, you had mentioned that you were just inspired after you wrote your first one. And so I'd be curious, like, what was your inspiration? Was it just the words? Was there something that happened that made you think like, oh, I need to write this? this story dreams here.
Or was it someone else's story?
Yeah, I was thinking that it could be something that they read for the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this feels like a kind of theme that we're getting this week. I feel like some of the stories really play on this dichotomy and using this antithesis throughout.
Yeah.
Kind of examining two opposing ideas.
I hadn't thought about that, but I'm excited to apply that concept to our next stories.
Yeah, and not saying that all of them are, of course, but it did strike me as it could have been someone else's story that had inspired you. So I'd be curious to know that.
This is very dichotomous.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, on this line, half awake, half asleep, both dead and alive, I put Schrodinger's waking life.
He just wants everything to be Schrodinger's
everything
something.
Is Schrodinger's something. Yeah.
It's Schrodinger's fill in the blank.
I don't know. It's just like it is both dead and alive, and so that just lends itself to Schrodinger.
It does.
So
you can't prove either way, so it's both.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, fascinating story, and thank you for bringing us both of those. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Successful Read. That was wonderful.
All right, and moving on, we have the Prismatics 19 with One for the Ages.
I like to try to say stuff at the same time as you.
So you were gonna say.
You were gonna say.
I don't know what you were gonna talk about. It's fine.
Has anyone ever done that to you?
Not until this literal moment.
Okay.
Especially not by choice.
I like to do it because my brother would tell stories of this guy who he used to man, I don't want to give too much away in case this guy one day starts listening to the podcast, which is highly unlikely. But this guy that he used to associate with, whoever would just be like watching like my brother's mouth very closely when he would talk. And every time my brother would say something, the guy would like try to say it at the same time.
That's like sounds mildly infuriating.
It was. Only he was being totally serious when he did it. Like he wasn't even trying to be funny or anything. And this is also a guy who would sling his beer all over everyone at the pub because he was so drunk, and he was telling stories and gesticulating so largely, so wildly.
So he just he's got a full beer and he's just arms flailing, just emoting his story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've been a victim of that guy's beer a few times.
Okay.
It's really funny. Okay, anyway. Okay. One for the Ages.
One for the Ages.
So, what do you think of this?
I really like this.
Me too.
And if you managed to write all of this in 30 minutes, wow. Like this is being able to move us through, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4
century.
4 timelines.
2 centuries.
Yeah, 2 centuries worth of backstory for this. Wow, very impressive.
Right.
There were some very cool parts to this.
Yes.
Very, 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 very cool. I really like the way that you keep the prompt coming back in different forms. I thought that was very creative.
Yeah.
And very unique for all the stories this week. And the little clues that you give us that this is meant to be a prequel or backstory to what's come before. After all, his wife was dead. Perfect way to call us back, because you've given us all of the clues in the first entry that this is clearly important. So works very well.
I did see this in your note and was like, oh, that's what I was thinking too. But it is very reminiscent of My Precious.
My Precious.
My Precious.
It's mine.
Yes.
My own. Yeah.
My Precious.
Beautiful.
Thank you. But here it's a stone and not a ring.
Yes. Yeah, it certainly has that kind of glamour quality about it.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious at any point in the story, do we get an idea of what benefits it may give somebody to make them want to hang on to it? Or is it just imparting this like
vision that you don't want?
Yeah, of what was it? Slime,
with eyes and patience.
eyes and slime and patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't remember any benefit from the stone. It must just, I don't know, like call out to you in some way, you know?
Yeah, it's very
Draw
clearly
you.
there. People are very clearly want this thing.
They're drawn to it.
Yeah, definitely drawn to it.
Mm-hmm.
And why they would want to keep it beyond that is unclear. So I'd be curious if there was any sort of thing that it offers.
Right. Like, for example, the Ring of Power offers power.
Like literal power.
Literal power.
Also invisibility. That's
and
a cool bonus.
Yeah. So yeah, it's this very scary thing that gives very, very scary visions. But everybody wants to keep it.
Yeah. This line, the log well burning in the hearth up until this point flickered once and then went dark.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was so cool to call back the prompt like that.
Yes,
and to use the prompt as an effect that this stone has.
Totally.
Very cool.
And I really like the name Bocephus.
Is it in 1894?
Mm-hmm. It's right under it.
Bocephus? Bocephus?
I think it's Bocephus.
Bocephus, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get the last name Waldron, which carries through from the start to the end, including the characters that we met in the first story.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, very interesting.
It just carries on through, and this thing also makes you crazy. I find it interesting that he's like at the very beginning, he's running, okay, and he has the stone. Wait, where is it that it says he doesn't want to see the things it keeps trying to make him see? Where is that?
Was that at the I don't think that was at the beginning.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's in. It might be the 1914.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's 1914. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. He's like, he had to act fast before the being in his palm could exert again. So he's still holding this damn thing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I guess really, although at this point he's trying to find a place to get rid of it.
Yeah, and that's whenever he runs into the pond.
Yeah.
And that's where our character Mercy finds it. So
yes.
I don't know that we had Mom's name. I think this is the first time that we get her name as Mercy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I think is a fitting name for essentially the role that she is playing in the overall story.
True.
Yeah, and I guess her act of mercy was warning.
Yeah, warning Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I also think that there was a line here under the 1894 section. He knew that his father had fled with wealth after a terrible heartbreak and had taken him like an arthritic hand. Heartbreak had taken him like an arthritic hand. And that we know is the story that his father told, which is not true.
No.
So I thought that was a very clever use of dramatic irony.
Yeah.
Something that we know that our character doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked that inclusion and keeping all of the elements that you've given us before and making sure that they are important to what follows.
Yeah, he was not heartbroken because she had a huge ass, apparently.
Yeah. Just the description was very... Yeah, and her throat was exposed, practically begging to be squeezed. I'm just like, oh god.
I'm like, okay, this guy is very Anglo,
and
if he doesn't like fat asses.
Okay.
Seriously,
I suppose.
Yeah, that's how I read it.
Fair.
I was like, that tracks.
I just thought he was a monster.
An Anglo monster.
An Anglo. Okay, all right.
Hey, I'm just saying.
But yeah, and then we finally move into 2024 with Mercy, and we're in more familiar territory now with Mother to Elizabeth on her evening walk, and we do figure out. And the inclusion again. The moon went behind the clouds and flickered once, and then went dark. I thought that was the coolest one because it's the moon.
Right.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Very captivating. Very captivating. It almost feels like despite evidence to the contrary, it feels like the power of the stone is growing to have this effect over the moon.
Mm-hmm.
But we do learn that the stone has been looking for something to feed on, or someone to feed on. And we get more description about the stone itself and kind of its, if we could call it even a motive.
Mm-hmm. Either it has power of the moon, or it's that flicker and then going dark is just an omen that the stone is about to strike.
Yeah, or it could just be in whoever's mind. Like it may not.
Well, it says that she didn't even notice it.
Ah.
So it was not in her mind.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's just an omen. That's cool. Yeah,
it's like it's a foreboding sign.
Yeah, very cool.
I loved it.
Every time I came across one of those, I was like, "Ooh, that's fun."
Yeah,
that was
great.
The Prismatics 19. I don't know this, but if you're familiar with King's works, this actually reminds me a lot of Desperation. And the primary villain, I believe his name is, it's called Tack in Desperation. Very supernatural villain. And it just gives me those kind of vibes. This all-consuming thing. It has no real will of its own other than it just must feed, even maybe ultimately to its own like
demise.
Exactly. Yeah, an evil that will ultimately destroy itself. So that's I just wanted to throw that out there. If you were familiar with Desperation, that's certainly the vibes that I'm getting from this evil that you've put into your story here.
Yes.
But that's literally the only thing that kind of reminds me of Desperation. Everything else feels very original. So
Desperado, why don't you come to your senses?
Okay, moving on.
And that hunger and that feeding brings us right into our next story.
By Chillax and Yak.
Called The Hunger.
And this is part, 6 to this story?
I don't even know.
Yeah, we're deep into the cryptid story.
We're balls deep.
Yeah, very colorful way to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, The Hunger.
Yes.
And how did you feel about this?
I loved this. I absolutely loved it. I found it very riveting.
Okay.
I just enjoyed reading it. I loved the description and the ideas about the Wendigo and the eating the people and why does he want this hunger? You know, I mean, okay, well, it gives him the power that he needs to destroy Rook. Damn, he must hate Rook.
Yeah. So yeah, the motivation was one thing I wanted to talk about. Why would he want to become this monster? It's like also I kind of just love this marriage of all these different ideas, like because this sounds more like a northern North American native legend, whereas like the Skinwalkers is like the Navajo legend, and then the cryptids is like this, I don't know, it feels like we've got this whole mashup going on here.
It matches the plot because in the plot he's mixing up these what's her name? Kirsten is mixing up these creatures and making weird abominations. So it kind of matches this like amalgamation.
Yeah, you know? Which is very cool.
Yeah.
I'm totally here for that. And I feel like I'm learning a lot from this story.
Me too.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I had no idea about, and then I just fall down these rabbit holes. I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. Yeah. So it's been, dare I say, educational.
You dare.
I dare.
You dare. You just said it.
I dared and have dared.
I easily accept that.
And just the way that we subvert the expectations that we have going to this, what do we call this mystic or Onjita, yeah, or Onjita, yeah, I'm gonna say Onjita.
I don't
Algonquin medicine man who's just in some like apartment building and is just like playing video games whenever he goes in there. I
hilarious.
Love that. I love that subversion of the expectation of the medicine man.
That's very funny. He's being super modern and just superficial.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the description of the food, and it makes me want to eat a person.
It does sound kind of tasty.
It sounds real tasty.
It sounds like, pretty good.
Yum.
But then you're like, oh, it's a human thigh. Oh, God.
But dang, that's good.
That's a good thigh. He couldn't stop eating it.
That is a yummy thigh.
Did you look into the Wendigo? Yes,
I did.
just the images that cropped up, I was like, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty scared for Egan at this point, because it sounds like he's going to turn into a horrible monster.
I'm even more scared for Rook, who's going to be the victim.
Who is going to be hunted by Egan.
Monster.
But just the same, I feel like we're setting up for a showdown.
Yeah.
Egan v. Rook.
Yeah.
Wendigo v. Skinwalker.
I honestly do strangely not feel sorry for Egan, because I'm like, he asked for this.
Yeah, I feel like he more willingly went in to become this monster. So yeah, now I was thinking that Egan was going to be our ultimate protagonist for this. And so that is my question now is, do we in fact have a protagonist anymore?
Isn't it Rook?
Is it Rook? Yeah,
I thought so.
Like he's fitting that mold more so after this story than Egan. But up until this point, it felt like Egan was the one kind of hunting out all the mysteries and trying to correct all this nonsense that Kirsten and Rook had put into the world. But now Rook has just turned that around.
I don't know why, but I've always seen Rook as the protagonist.
Yeah, and if for no other reason, just because it seems like his being turned to a skinwalker was unintentional. Like he never wanted that in the first place. So yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, and I kind of want to know what it feels like to truly crave. Maybe I want to become a Wendigo.
But then you will literally always be hungry.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
I want to be a Wendigo for a day.
I mean, I don't know that that's impossible. It doesn't sound like that's an option, though.
No, it doesn't. I want to live a day in the life of Wendigo.
What would you imagine that's like?
I think that I would apparently be ravenously hungry in a way that I can't even conceive of right now. Crave. And by craving, I'm not exactly sure what it is that he's going to truly crave. Is it killing? Is it blood?
Man flesh.
Man flesh?
The second Lord of the Rings reference today.
Yes.
All right.
Is it, hybrid monster flesh?
Skinwalker flesh, yeah.
Yeah, is it skinwalker? I don't know. What is he going to truly crave?
Yeah, I'll be curious to see where this is going. Again, I feel like we're after this, we're gearing up for a showdown between Rook and Egan.
Yep.
And as of our recording this, the next story is already out, so we can go read that once we get off of this.
Prut.
Yeah, it's on episode 13 already.
Dadgum.
Dadgum.
Have you read it?
No, I've had zero time.
Okay, good, because that would seriously be a conflict of interest.
Correct. Yeah. And no, have not read it yet. Anxious to read it, and we will get to the next chapter of our cryptids tales here.
And read it we shall.
Yeah, I'm just along for the ride on this one.
Same.
Okay. Moving on, we have I'm sure that makes for great audio.
Yeah. I had a 4th grade teacher who, instead of saying shh, she would say I know y'all can't tell the difference.
Yeah, she's like,
now. It's a different, instead of having her tongue against the roof of her mouth, like shh, she would have the tongue in the middle of the mouth, like
very compelling audio.
And it never really occurred to me that she did. I mean, I kind of noticed in the back of my mind that she said it weird, but I didn't really think much of it. But my friend, who is very detail oriented, was like, I hate Mrs. Beep. I cannot
Mrs. Beatrix Kiddo.
I cannot stand the way that she says shh. And by the way, she was a very nice lady.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, what do you mean? Okay, yeah, she does say it that way, but why does it bother you so much?
Okay, so I had a traumatic memory just come to me because of that. In I want to say is middle school, I had a music teacher that rather than saying shh or be quiet or anything, she would say tacit, tacit, tacit.
Ew.
Right?
Ew.
Horrible use of tacit. Don't you ever.
Ew.
That's the worst.
No.
Tacit. It wasn't until later in my music career that I was just like, tacit. Oh, Oh, I hated that woman for that.
It's almost like she's doing some social experiment. Like if I say tacit instead of shh, will they turn out differently?
Yeah, or it's like she thought it was a means of educating us on the meaning of tacit because it is used in music, but not in those terms.
No.
Is tacit applicable? No. I refuse.
Oh.
So, yeah, that happened.
Can we get her on the horn?
Hello, Mrs.
I just want to say, fuck you.
We would love to have you on our podcast so we can interview.
No, that just reminded me of Randy from South Park on a Thanksgiving special when he's like railing against Columbus Day. And he gets a phone book and he's calling everybody who lives in Columbus. Yeah. It's like, hello, is this Mr. Johnson? Yeah? Okay, well, fuck you. You racist motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, this is a story titled, thank you, by Steve Living Room.
Yeah.
This one's a trip.
It's a trip. It was, I was like, wait, what? What's going on?
Yeah, so could you give us a one sentence synopsis of what happens in this story?
Sure. Some guy named Tony is trying to kill, apparently, another guy named Andy. And so he goes to Andy's apartment very, very quietly. He creeps and he waits. And Andy, sorry, this is not one sentence, and Andy knows that there's something off. Andy knows that somebody's stalking him. And Tony eventually ends up shooting Andy.
I thought you were doing a whole thing.
That was unintentional.
Okay.
Shooting Andy, and Andy ends up cutting Tony's throat.
Yeah.
And they both die at the same time. And then at the very end, Tony finds out that Andy didn't do anything wrong or something like that.
Yeah. What happened? It's just I really fucked up, Tony thought.
Yeah. And this actually, not that last part, but everything else about it reminds me of Telltale Heart.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. How the point of view character is creeping, Yeah. And like going to the door, like creaking it open. He's like very drawn out, and he stands there for hours, like not breathing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very suspenseful story.
Yes.
The way that he's looking out the peephole and just not breathing, and there's a lot of suspense here and a lot of build up, and then all pays off in a very quick and brutal action scene.
And apparently there's a third character.
Yeah, because he wasn't supposed to kill this guy, so who was he after?
Yeah, because that wasn't Andy. Oh, and I'm like, okay, when it says Tony turned just enough to not land on the knife, he was dead, but he may still have enough time. So was he really literally dead?
I imagine you could read it as he was going to die, but he may still have enough time.
Right.
I actually kind of like the way you word that. He was dead, but may still have time enough. I actually kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then in the next paragraph, it says, but he knew he was dead. Then at that point, I was like, okay, does it mean like he knew he was going to die?
Yeah.
Or does it mean, is this his zombie self doing this? Like he was dead? His ghost?
Yeah.
It wasn't me, Andy said as the blade pierced his heart. I really fucked up, Tony thought. Yeah, you did, Tony. But hey, you're not going to be around to suffer the guilt from it because you just died too.
Yeah, I really like the suspense that we get building into what ultimately culminates here. Tony counted a full 100 seconds before breathing again. It was not that hard. He was a swimmer. So we do get some characterization there. And Tony relaxed his body, but his mind was still tense. Yeah, I just thought that the build up was well done, well paced, and then you pay it off. And I really like the line, it took 3 minutes. It lasted an eternity. I really like that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it really gets us into the head of your character there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, let's go ahead and move on to our next story, which is by a new submitter.
A new submitter.
Trash House Panda 44. Stop it.
I kind of assumed that was the title. I wasn't sure. So it could also just be untitled. That could just be the first word
Could
as
be.
well.
Could be.
Tough to tell.
Mhm.
Also, Trash House Panda 44. If you need help with formatting on Reddit, there is a post that I pinned at the top of our subreddit that goes into all the details for Reddit Markdown. So if you have questions, that's where you could find some answers, possibly.
Alrighty.
But thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much and welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. So, what we have here is another psycho with girls in the basement.
Yeah, we have a recurring theme.
We do.
The whole scene is just where was the line? How could anyone just watch as another human was butchered in front of them? He liked an audience, she had decided, and evermore he wanted prey, too scared to resist. That pretty much sums him up, I feel like.
Yeah.
So a monster.
A monster.
Yeah, his voice, a deep, seductive, sickly sweet. That's actually a good description right there.
Yeah.
Deep, seductive, sickly sweet. Would you like to take her place? Just a sick bastard, which I think, nope. She literally says that, you sick, fuck you, you sick bastard. But her body, but she couldn't actually say that.
Yeah.
So really has me rooting for this unnamed woman and trying to figure out how is she going to get out of this.
If she is going to get out of it.
If she is going to get out of this, she may not. Could just be strictly tragic.
Yeah.
But just the same, you set us up with these characters, and that's where my mind goes, is how can she get out of this? How can we stick it to this asshole?
Yeah. I like the description of the knife smelling putrid.
Ugh.
Because that's a detail that we never really hear about, a bloody knife, you know?
Yeah.
But that's true. It would have to smell really, really bad.
Yeah.
If it's got the blood of a bunch of people old for a long time, you know?
Yes. Yeah, all the descriptions are very effective, and it just I'm reading it and I'm just cringing because it is very effective. It gets you into this space and you don't really want to be in this space, but here we are. So yeah, very effectively described, and you get plenty of characterization, as I mentioned, for this monster. And so I guess what's left is, who is she?
Yeah. And how many people are down there?
Yeah, it sounds like there may just be her and this guy, but there had been somebody else prior. It sounds like whoever else was in there was literally butchered in front of them. I mean,
one of them was. There could be others.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, a little unclear. Yeah, and the description. Oh, I really liked this. Her anger had beat out her fear, but as he neared her, that burning flickered out. I really like that.
Yeah.
That's a great description that you have there.
Right. Well, at the very beginning, it says, "We have done everything you have asked. Every insane fucking task you have demanded of us." So that makes me think that there might still be people down there because of the tense, the present perfect.
Yeah.
Because if the only other person had already just been butchered, I feel like it would be in the past simple. Like, we did everything you asked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the very last sentence.
Plenty of time to break you.
Yes, that reminds me of Ivan Drago. You know Ivan Drago?
No.
On Rocky 4.
Oh no! I have a passing acquaintance. Superman no here.
Super no. Okay, Ivan Drago. He's Russian. He's like this huge robot guy, and he's like, when he.
I'm sure that's not accurate.
It is, and when he's facing off with Rocky, he's like, "I must break you."
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious. What's going to happen here, or if you decide to continue this, I'd be curious to know more about this woman. You could write in her backstory. We could learn more about who she is and maybe how she ended up here.
Yeah.
Conversely, you could also give us the backstory of this monster, and maybe who people think he is outside of this setting, and give us the contrasting kind of public side of this figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of interesting ways you can take, because this will hook you into these characters.
For sure.
So we're certainly invested now.
Yep.
Because this is.
I want to see what had happened.
Yeah, give us some context to this
Yes.
scene and kind of start filling in some of these blanks.
Exactly.
And that could be a very captivating read. But just in general, this is very effective, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Trash House Panda.
Great
Thank you
job.
for joining us.
Yes. And we look forward to the next installment.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that right now we need to go ahead and move on to Mexican. Cousins. Primos. Okay. So what did you think about this?
It's adorable.
It is very adorable.
Yeah. And it took me right back to playing hide and seek.
Yeah.
It'd been so long. I think the most recent example of something relating to hide and seek is in high school. We did, after prom, we went and played capture the flag in an orchard.
Oh, so fun.
It was so fun because it's just dark as all get out, and the flags were glow sticks, so they were very, very clear and very easy to see. But everybody's dressed in all black, and there's just trees everywhere, and that was so much fun. But that's the nearest memory that I have to playing hide and seek.
Yeah.
And yeah,
so fun.
So fun.
You know what would be fun? It would be adult hide and seek. Hide and seek. But there is like on Portlandia, don't they have like an adult hide and seek league or something? They do.
They probably do.
They
I
do.
love
That's like
that
the
show.
first episode. I think.
Oh, that show is a gem.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is adorable. I really like the descriptions of the little girl with all the anger her little 7-year-old self could muster, and then as fast as her little legs could carry her, or whatever it says.
Yeah.
Oh, her tiny legs moving as fast as they could toward base.
Yeah.
That is very cute.
Yeah. And it made me realize that I had forgotten that there were rules to hide and seek, that you need to get back to base before they tag you.
Yes.
That made me think, I was like, hide and seek, that's just like, if they find you, like, that's it, you're out. Like,
yeah.
I see you.
I kind of think that's how we played it.
Like, if you're seen, then you're just out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think most of the time when I played it when I was little, there wasn't a base. You just can't get found.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoever can last the longest.
Yeah.
Without being found just wins. But yeah, there's some really cool descriptions. I really like the little touch, the fireflies were all the light that they needed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very quaint and lovely description. And it just really paints quite the picture for us.
Yeah. It's a very like cozy description and happy.
It's a very nostalgic story. I will say there are a lot of names in this, and I wasn't necessarily following the characters around very well, but I don't know that it really matters. Yeah,
like the only two characters that I really felt were important were the hider and the one hider, Sarah, and the seeker, Sara, and Pablo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the others were just like other people playing.
I love it. She heard Terry giggle as Pablo walked past her. Terry jumped out of the well and ran toward base. Wrigley quickly followed. I just love the whole description. And it is weirdly suspenseful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what's gonna happen? Is Sada gonna get tagged?
Yeah. It's such a childish suspense. So
it's very cute and very well described.
Yeah, and quite the contrast coming off of Trash House Panda's story.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing that prompt managed to get both of these stories. Fascinating.
That's the beauty of prompts and imaginations. If you want to view paradise, take a look around
and view it.
La 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 la. There's nothing to it. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. You're just like, I don't even know what to do or say. The look on your face.
Yeah. So I'm just going to let you keep singing.
I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else for this one?
I really don't. It's a lovely, adorable story. that I feel like everybody can relate to.
Totally.
Everybody's played hide and seek at some point.
I hope everyone can relate to
Yes.
this.
If you can't, then find 3 or 4 friends
and start an adult hide and seek.
and go play you some hide and seek.
Yeah, because it is fun.
It is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mexican.
Thank you, Mexican.
And moving on, we have an untitled story by Nicked You.
Nicked You.
So this one is very, very interesting. At the end here, I just put Ghost Bounty Hunter.
Yes.
That's essentially what we have here.
Mm-hmm.
And just the description that we get of this ghost and the way that our point of view character is taking care of this is really original.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny. I just found the line, racists were never original.
Yeah.
So.
True. Racists seem to take the same tack over and over.
Yeah. And just a very original description and take on a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the kind of everyday quality of our point of view characters' actions in taking this ghost or dealing with this ghost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taking down this ghost.
Taking down this ghost. Thank you.
Taking sounds a little bit sexual in my mind to my ears.
Okay.
Okay. I thought it was interesting how it says physical interaction cost him in a way that didn't cost me. I thought that was an interesting subversion because I would think the opposite. I would think that physical interaction would cost the human more than it would cost the ghost.
I just see the scene from the movie Ghost whenever Patrick Swayze is trying to like physically move stuff and he can't, and it just takes a lot of effort to move stuff. And so that was what I was thinking, is it takes a lot of effort for a ghost to physically move something.
Okay.
So
Patrick Swayze was so hot.
So hot. And
damn. What a babe.
What a totes babe.
What a totes babe. Okay, it was really great description of their confrontation.
Yeah. I love the idea of this guy taking down a racist ghost.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting. I guess you could call this a bit of world building. A lot of guys who did this had special tools to protect themselves and fight back. I just had my foot out the door, and that came with some resistance and some other perks. A lightning shot at my arm as I grabbed the man's coat. I just thought the descriptions here of him taking down this ghost are interesting, and his methods, and the fact that a lot of guys who did this had special tools. So that's some interesting bits of world building that we have here. Ghosts are apparently quite common. Yeah. And it requires some specialized tools for some people to deal with them. So,
but not for this badass.
No, he just deals with it and goes and collects his bounty. Yep.
Yeah. He's like, done, mic drop, give me my money.
Yeah, and then the symbolic attack. Ghosts tended to need symbolic attacks to properly finish them off and force them to quiet down. Granted, my presence was obviously offensive, which I guess implies that our character is of the race that this ghost is not. Not correct. Yeah. Yep. And
it would seem so.
Yeah, without any, I guess, directly textual evidence of our point of view character's race, very clearly not of the ghost's race. Yeah.
I won't let you infect this neighborhood.
I just really like that idea that the ghost is still trying to keep his neighborhood pure or whatever.
But that's kind of what ghosts do, though, isn't it? They try to keep things the way they were when they were there.
I think that may be a trope.
Yeah. You know, like ghosts in houses, they're like, get out of my house.
Wow. I hadn't thought about it as a trope. So are racists just really bad tropes, living tropes of ghosts?
Yeah.
I really like that. Now that you mentioned that. Yeah,
that's
really fun.
Racists are ghosts.
Yeah.
Tropes.
Yeah, they're just tropes of ghosts.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep everything the same.
Yeah.
And keep their neighborhood pure. Scared of change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Racists are tropical ghosts.
Yeah, tropical.
Racists are really just tropical ghosts. when you get right down to it.
Yeah. You get to the crux of the matter.
Yeah.
Racist or tropical ghosts.
That's it.
Oh, God. If we ever get merch, that's going to be the first thing.
Great.
Yeah, we're going to have a mug. Racist or tropical ghosts.
Okay, I like that. Well, I guess you'd have to pronounce it tropical because I don't want to offend tropical ghosts.
Yeah, we can't have them descending on us.
No.
That sounds horrifying.
That would ruin everything. That'd be bad.
I bet they have fun stories, though. Tropical ghosts.
No doubt.
Hey, thanks, Nick, to you. That's a lot of fun.
Thank you, Nick, to you. That was wonderful.
Yes. And moving on, we have Ace of Sword with inventory.
Ace of Sword. I loved this story.
I did too. You did it.
You did it.
Shut up. You're the worst.
You're the worst. Okay. Yes, this was wonderful and it was so Halloween-y.
It's perfect.
I was just like, I want this to be a movie and I want to watch it right now in preparation for Halloween.
There are so many places to go with this.
Yes.
I love that you came back to this story.
Yeah.
Because the first one was just, it was delightful. It was fun. It ended kind of on a funny note. And then we're back here right in with Opal taking inventory of this shop, and it is delightful. Opal is a wonderful character.
Yes.
She is so... She's awesome. She's just awesome. Yeah.
I love how it starts out scary and then it becomes humorous. I love how it becomes funny because the deep, scary, ancient voice at first is very like, what's the word?
Ominous. Yeah.
Scary. And then at the end, it's like, no, said the voice sullenly. Like it becomes like a kind of a child who's getting like sullen.
A little petulant.
Yeah. And petulant. I love that. I think that's hilarious. And it makes me kind of feel for the voice.
Yeah.
It makes me want to snuggle him.
Oh, there's so many wonderful quips from Opal here.
Mm-hmm.
The conjunction is at hand. Your lack of preparation is not my emergency. She snapped back.
Yeah.
She's just just such a wonderful character.
Yeah.
And she's just not put off by anything. Well, sorry, she's put off by all of this. Like she didn't want any of this in the first place, but she is not at all scared of any of this.
And I'm getting the feeling that she's been doing this for a minute. Since our last story from her?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. She said, like, for example, she's already done like inventory or something, you know? Or she's doing inventory.
I feel like she's working on inventory.
She's already been working on inventory. She's like, I've got hundreds of cursed artifacts. I'm not letting any of them go before I do research. I don't know. It just seems like she's kind of like getting into her role.
Yeah.
By this point.
Yeah, she's in this kind of transition of becoming the owner of this cursed shop.
Right.
Oh, God. I love Opal.
Me too.
As a character, she is wonderful.
Opal is hilarious.
She's hilarious. She feels like a very capable character. And so if we were ever to come across an antagonist against Opal that would be her match, that would be fascinating to see.
Yeah.
Like who is equal? Like what antagonist would be equal to Opal? Because she just seems like a total badass.
She seems like a badass for sure.
Yeah.
I like it when she's like, "Then I haven't seen it. I'll see what I can do. Now scram."
Yeah.
Scram.
Go on get.
Yeah. I love that.
Just the first half of this story. This would be a month from now. She said, "I'm putting this on the priority list, but don't expect miracles. I don't even know where the thing is or what it looks like." And then the dark booming voice, it's a dark sphere.
Yeah,
It's resigned to like, offering descriptions of a physical object.
It's
lovely.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's a dark sphere, serial number
like 0053. I didn't want to have to stoop to that level, but I guess I have to. Yeah, and then the next day, how the fairy, dwarf, and goblin come in. I love that.
Yes.
The whole image of that happening.
Yeah, and the characterization of each of those creatures that walk in is like they each kind of have a very unique character and voice to them and concern. Like it seems like each of them is concerned about different things. Also love the description for the fairy as fair folk. I thought that was very cool. It drew me in a little bit further, and I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, it almost kind of is conjuring up an image of like, because it's really like making all of these mythical creatures kind of like down to earth and not all magical and mysterious. It's like personifying them, and it kind of is giving me a picture of like on Shrek, where it has all the, all the fairy tale creatures.
Yeah, but these are all the cursed like artifacts and the magical creatures coming after the cursed artifacts. Yeah. No, I love that. And you inherited the shop, you inherit the debt, said the goblin. And then comes around, it's like, well, what was the deal? And comes down to it, it's like, well, he just gave me all of this, so you're owed a share of nothing.
Right.
And they're all just like, oh. But then she actually does have pity on them and says, and offers his final resting place in case they want to go vandalize it or something.
And then it's just like they looked at each other, then turned right toward the sandy lot. I love that. They're just like, don't say anything. They just like make a beeline for his grave.
Damn you, Bram.
Yeah. Damn Bram.
Damn Bram.
Bram be damned.
That's such a fun story.
So fun.
And just a very tiny little thing that I thought was so much fun. Your little symbol for breaking the two parts. I just thought it adds just a little bit of whimsy to the whole story. Something so simple.
Yeah. I'd like to put in a request. Can you please give us another installment of this before Halloween?
Oh, the prompt could lend itself to this pretty well. It's a sound effect.
I want another dose of this because it's just very Halloween festive.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do too. It's a fun story.
So fun. So nextly, we have another new submitter named Sparrowhawk.
Sparrowhawk? Sparrowhawk, this is some good writing you got here.
Tis.
This is painting a very clear picture for me. And it's not a picture that I think is very easy to paint either. Oh, what did this remind me of? I think Nathaniel might have mentioned that this reminded them of Sin City. And I can kind of see those vibes. And it's just, is ethereal the word that I want? Just the way that everything is just in this kind of decay. Everything is falling apart. In the parlance of Stephen King, it's like moved on, or it's moving on. Like it is dying.
You know what it reminds me of? In the real world?
Okay.
Cuba
is just decaying.
I almost
like
think
this.
Sparrowhawk, are you Cubano? Just because it's like, especially because of the electricity outages that they've had. I mean, they've been having for forever, but they've had like even more extreme ones in the last few weeks.
Yeah, because the hurricane.
Yeah, and because just of the lack of infrastructure and just the poverty of the whole place. But no electricity. People who, and where it says, I had been an electrician once, I think. It's like all these people who in Cuba had these professions. Like I was a doctor, I was a dentist, but I mean, that was like a whole nother life. They don't have jobs anymore. Like everybody's just in this type of situation.
Interesting. It feels like the main character and the setting are mirroring each other in a lot of ways. It's like the city is in decay and falling apart. And it feels like, just based on the way that our main character is talking about these things and the way it's tough to recollect, like I was an electrician, I think.
Yeah.
It seems like one is representing the other. And it's very interesting that you can kind of draw us between these two things and still have it apply to both the setting and to the character, and just drawing us into these ideas of this decay. And we get this refrain, the power plants were dying and we couldn't fix them. The power lines were rotting and we couldn't fix them. I really like that we return to that again in Aphra and just keeping this idea we couldn't fix it. We couldn't fix it. So that kind of feels like that might be our theme of this, is like we can't fix this.
Yeah.
It's
like beyond repair. Everything is pretty bleak and pretty hopeless.
Yeah. And just these descriptions are so well handled and clear. Walking out of town, the crowd thinned, fell apart, the chatter lessened. There weren't any conversations, just voices. I don't know why I like that. The fact that it's just voices, but it's meaningless. There's nothing. It's just sounds.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say other than I really like that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It seems like you're very good at world building. This is very, very engaging setting that you're dropping us into. I guess my next question is, who is our character? I'd like to know more about this point of view character that we have and what is happening.
Yeah.
And kind of clue us into some of the details of what it's like to be in this place.
Yeah.
And not that you're not giving us details of what that is like. I would just like to get more of his perspective or their perspective of this place. It's
painting a very strong picture.
Yes.
And I can see it. I can envision it. It's like this whole place is just losing hope, kind of like fading into oblivion.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I got at the very last line, where it's like, until one day I would wake up in the next night and not know if I truly woke or still slept. That's like slipping into oblivion.
Yeah.
Where there's no borders, nothing defining anything.
Yeah.
You're just floating.
I really enjoyed this, Sparrowhawk, and your descriptions are very well done.
They are
very beautiful.
Very well done.
Thank you, Sparrowhawk.
Thank you, Sparrowhawk.
And next, we have our very own Walker by Faith with Ray Resolved.
Yes. So, when I read this title, I thought, okay, this is the last installment.
Right. Yeah.
Because Ray Resolved. But now, after reading it, I don't think so.
No.
No.
I think it's Ray has resolved.
Right. It's like Ray's resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somehow, even though we have no dialogue, we still have all these likes from Ray interjected, which is fascinating, which means that this is how
she thinks like that.
Like Ray thinks like.
That's like how she thinks.
Yeah. And I just thought that was a very interesting choice to carry that through. And I'm totally here for it, just because if we, for whatever reason, forgot the name Ray, we would probably remember that she spoke this way.
Yes.
And so it gets us right back into that character.
Yes. So she has woken up, found herself tied up in the basement. And she has figured out what their plan, or what the wife is planning. What's her name again? The wife?
Max.
What Max is planning. And Max's husband, Sam is not into it. He's terrified and disgusted.
Yeah, and just the way that you clue us into that all through Ray's perspective. We don't get any indication other than just the context clues that they're kind of leaving.
Right.
Just through your stage setting, through this narrative that you're giving us. I thought that was really cool, the way you handled that.
Yes.
That we're not getting any dialogue from Sam.
Yeah, we can just see, his reactions based on his behavior and things like that. And, so Ray was crying. I had kind of overlooked that part, I guess. Max was finally able to get Ray to stop crying and to listen to her. And then, Walker kind of touches on what we were mentioning in the last episode, which Ray pondered. She really thinks I'm about to spit some kid out for them. And so what, they'll keep me down here for 9 months, because that's what we were talking about in the last episode. Well, what are they going to do? Keep her down there for 9 months?
Yeah, there's no way that's going to work.
Right.
Yeah. Also, just the characterization that you get as soon as this is talking about Sam. As soon as he felt it, he turned and flew up the stairs. Strange gagging sounds coming from his direction. He is revolted by this idea.
Yeah. a pretty strong reaction.
Yeah.
Well, whenever I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe he's just revolted by his whole world got flipped upside down as far as what he thought Max was or was not capable of.
Right. And that seems to be the case, especially because we get clues that he stormed off and left. The door slams, and then Max comes. Does she come back, or does she just lock the door? I think she comes back.
Yeah, I think she comes back. Yeah, she does. She told Ray to wait there as though Ray was able to go anywhere.
I guess she can't be too sure, Ray thought, locking the door in case I somehow manage to free myself, which is smart because, like, if I get out of here, I swear to God, I will murk this wench.
Yeah.
Just, I like that we get that callback to murk.
Yeah.
Very unique way to reference killing somebody.
Right. Murk.
I will murk this wench.
New word for me. Okay, and I found this interesting where it says, she had the foresight to start her iPhone's record function before she came into the house. Okay, it says she remembered having an uneasy feeling when Max invited her over after so long not hearing from her. This to me is kind of crazy. I'm like, would you go into the house of someone that you felt you needed to turn the recording on your iPhone? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there must be more behind that. Because if I just heard from some friend from a long time ago and they're like, oh, come over, I would not automatically be like, I'm going to record this just in case, you know?
Yeah.
Unless we had some type of history or that Max had shown some like psychotic tendencies.
Yeah, I highlighted that and basically pointed out the same. It's like, I wonder why she thought to do this.
Yeah.
Like, what would make you think I need to record this?
And so if I felt that I needed to record it, I would absolutely be sharing my location.
Yeah, with like a group of people.
Right.
Yeah. And also brings up what I think is a valid question. Where is her phone?
I was wondering the same thing.
Because I imagine if she was sedated and her phone was sitting on the table or wherever she and Max were talking at the time, her phone is still there, still recording. And what's more is Max will inevitably find that phone and see it's recording.
Right.
And then boop, 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 recording gone.
Yeah.
But of course, there's obviously security and you can't just break into somebody's phone. But that could be that's like the one piece that's like Chekhov's phone. Like we need that phone for this all to wrap up with the police in a nice, like rounded way. So where is the phone?
Where is it?
Where is it? Right here near the end, she listed off in her head, step 1, get out of this chair. Step 2, run out of this crazy house. Step 3, figure out how to buy a gun. Step 4, payback. So Ray is not interested in going to the police.
No.
She wants to murk somebody.
She wants to cap a hoe.
Yeah. So yeah, I just said, okay, so straight to vigilantism.
Right.
Just deal with this, or like frontier justice. We're gonna fuck her up.
Yeah. Texas justice.
Yeah. There's no way she's having this crazy bitch's baby.
It's interesting, though, that shows a characterization of Ray that I had not seen previously.
Right. And
that she is so aggressive and just like, I am going to murder her.
Yeah. And that would not be, I would not jump to that idea for Ray as a character. Granted, we don't know a ton about Ray.
We don't.
All we know is that she talks like a valley girl.
Yeah,
like, you know,
she seems a bit airheaded.
Yeah. And then she was sedated, and then we got her as a spirit in a police station for a while. So this is our first real chance to get to know Ray, I think.
True.
So we're learning a lot about Ray.
We are.
And I feel like we officially learned a lot about Ray. So
she's a complex character.
Yeah. And I like that.
Me too.
Yeah. People are not cut and dry. So
people are not 2-dimensional.
And Ray feels rather 3-dimensional here. So
she does.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I like it too.
And lastly, I really like that you spent plenty of time here. You're not just rushing us to some inevitable conclusion for Ray and Max and Sam. Letting this breathe. It really, I think this pays off a lot.
I agree. I like the not rushing. I like the fleshing everything out.
Yeah. Yeah. Give it the time it deserves.
Exactly.
And Ray deserves some time. All right. Thank you, Walker by Faith.
Thank you. So we're now moving on to the center by Nathaniel McLean.
Nathaniel McLean.
Nathaniel McLean.
All right, so we're back in our story with Bill Waters and Detective Dalton.
Yes.
Who we officially get his first name, which is Adam. Detective Adam Dalton.
That's right.
So Nathaniel mentioned in a comment that they hated this.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, they are not fans of this story. They are not a fan of this story. So with that in mind, what did you think of this?
I was surprised whenever I read that comment.
I was too.
Because I was like, wow, I was really enjoying it. I would, okay, I'm going to sound like my dad here, but I would encourage you not to criticize yourself in that way. Because to me, it was very enjoyable. But honestly, whenever I read that comment, I was like, oh, maybe I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought. Maybe, well, if the writer himself is saying that it sucks, maybe it does. That was kind of my like reaction. So I just want to encourage you to not say things like that.
Okay, so I have to agree with Rachel. And I think, in my experience, the things that we think are bad that we make, the reason we think that they're bad is because it was hard. It was difficult. And it didn't just happen naturally.
Okay.
It was difficult. It was a struggle. And you feel like you're just fighting it the whole time. But ultimately, if that's how you felt while you were writing this, the struggle paid off.
Yeah.
Because I think this is a lovely addition.
I do too.
As a matter of fact, I think it's a fairly strong addition. I feel like we're really fleshing out what we thought we knew and moving into exactly what we were discussing about Bill Waters in the past.
Yes.
So he was leading our detective to the bridge, knowingly, wittingly trying to get him to this bridge, and just to get him into this situation to talk with him. Wants to know more about our detective because he has information about our detective. Yeah. And so this twist that we get, the detective is not in control of this situation. Bill Waters is in control, despite all of the evidence to the contrary leading us into this story. You've essentially just turned the tables on our characters and us as the reader. So you're setting up some very interesting expectations moving forward.
Yeah, and it's just a fun story to read. Like, it's the type of story that I can see myself like just reading for like hours and hours, just because I don't know. I mean, some stories are just more like engaging than others. And I was really engaged by this.
I was too. And I think a lot of it is these two characters.
Yeah.
They're very unique. The way that they speak, just in general, the way that they speak is very natural, very true to life. And Bill is a little off-putting. Yeah. Just in the way that he talks. And it's
he's
very
proper.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, seems like a very litigious person.
Yes.
And meanwhile, Adam Dalton is giving us a lot of I mean, yeah. So he feels like a very naturally speaking person, and that you give us all of those affects of his speech really, I won't say necessarily endears us to him, but it makes him feel very natural. And so this feels like a scene. Like, it's a very natural scene, the way it plays out.
I think so too. And I also really like the setting. I don't know why, but I just really love that diner setting.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, it kind of harks back on, well, to me it does.
Dexter? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, Dexter, but also just the episode 1, actually, the detective story.
Oh, yeah. No, totally.
I was thinking, like, my chapter 2 would be in a diner somewhere.
Yeah.
And so here we literally have a detective and this Bill Waters psychopath or alleged psychopath in this diner. So it's following these detective story tropes.
Yes, I'm loving the diner trope.
Yeah, and just the detective story tropes could be great framing devices for how to continue this story. So look at what other detective stories are doing and see if any of those could apply to where you're going with this. Yes. Also, there's serial killer stories for days.
Totally.
So there's tons of material to draw ideas from. But I think you've hit something here, Nathaniel. So
I do too. I'm
don't
just
feel bad
really
about it.
Enjoying it.
Yeah.
I could snuggle down with some kittens and read this all day. I really could.
Yeah, I think you could just snuggle down with some kittens in general.
That's true.
I don't think you need a good story to do that.
I don't, but reading this would be the cherry on top. It would be the kibble on top.
The kibble on top of your kitten pile.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I just mentioned a few cursory edits, and I think this is good to go, man.
Yeah.
No major notes here.
Mm-hmm. I loved it.
I did too.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
Right. And moving on, we have another new submitter.
Another one.
This is Aggressive Maize 1471.
Yes.
And that is maize, like corn.
Right. Yin and yang.
Also known as yin and yang for us Anglo.
Yeah, that's the Anglo pronunciation.
Sure.
Okay, so Matt, what did you think about this?
This is a tough story to pin down.
Mm-hmm.
It's... so this is taking me back to kind of what Successful Read was writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's dichotomous and using antithesis to describe it.
Yeah.
And so we've got this balance in a life comes at the cost of our souls. I felt like that was kind of the theme that we were driving towards.
Yeah.
Is this idea of balance, which is obviously yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of this is very nebulous. We're kind of floating around these ideas, and we don't even have a clear setting of any kind. The only setting that we get is the streetlight flickered.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, it is this kind of philosophizing about balance in life and its cost, and the cost comes to our souls, apparently, in this case. What did you think?
I agree with the word nebulous. It seemed untethered. Like, it's hard to get a feel for. It's just very, like, musing. It just seems to be like these dark, moody musings.
Yeah.
You know? I thought that it was interesting. Okay, the concept of anger in the first paragraph, this I felt was kind of not hashed out enough.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like this random emotion just placed in there, which I know it was one of the words, but it didn't really match the vibe of the rest of the story.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So the whole story to me was very contemplative, melancholy,
cynical even.
Cynical. But anger, the only time I see anger is that one sentence. And it's like, wait, why? Where did that come from? You know? So I do think that that should be, it's similar to what I said about another story a couple of weeks ago, that I think that unless you're going to adequately explore an idea, you shouldn't include it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it is one of the words. So
right.
I could see how anger could fit into the themes that we're presenting here. But yeah, I agree. It's not entirely fleshed out.
Yeah.
I do think that we're touching on some interesting topics here. Specifically the idea, this sentence, every decision comes with the weight of the consequences waiting on the other side. That is literally discussing consequentialism, which to me that whole idea is fascinating, weighing what is good, what is bad based on the consequences, and every action has its own consequences. So is what you do good or bad based on the consequences, or is it based on, you know, I just keep coming back to all these moral philosophy ideas.
Yeah, it's very philosophical.
It is a very philosophical story. And so this seems to be kind of dwelling on the idea of consequentialism.
And the part that's like, they pull at each tether of my body, each with equal strength. They're like yin and yang, fighting for dominance within my soul. Neither to be the victor, yet the cost to my blah, blah, blah. So it reminds me of that saying, two natures beat within my breast.
Yeah.
One is foul, the other blessed. One I love, one I hate. The one I feed will dominate. That's what it really sounds like to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And it seems like in the case of this story or this character, seems like they went towards the dark and cynical side. we don't really get very much of the positive side.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like we can get a sense of which one won out in this case.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like trying to figure out what's it all about, Alfie?
Yeah. What is it about? So it does. I like your word musings. It feels like it's just musing and carrying
try
us
to
through.
find the meaning of life. What are we chasing?
I would say in the case of this story, we are chasing balance, which I think is an appropriate thing to chase.
Yeah.
I think it is ever elusive.
Like the snow leopard.
Yeah.
Ever elusive.
Ever elusive. All right. Very thought-provoking story, at least for myself. It was a very thought-provoking story, Aggressive Maze. Thank you very much. And
thank you, Aggressive Maze.
Yeah. 1471.
1471.
And moving on, we have Richie Posier.
Richie Posier.
With an untitled story.
Yeah.
So this one was, I think, a great Halloween story.
I agree.
So this is painting a very clear picture for me. I love the inclusion of the nervous tick that we get. Yeah, the pin.
Yeah.
The click,
and
click,
you know what's funny
click,
is that when I was reading this, I was at work and I had this amazing new fidget toy, which clicks like way more satisfying than any pin could ever be. It's just like constantly. So when I was reading this, I was like, "Where's my fidget toy? Where's my fidget toy?
Give me my fidget toy!"
And I had to go in search of it so I could continue reading.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because without it, I can't do it. I can't do it.
No,
I can't do it.
I can't read about somebody else doing clicks without being able to do clicks myself. Yeah, exactly. And then I felt real good.
Felt right at home.
I felt at home.
So this has some lovely descriptions and just it's eerie, it's creepy. The scene is very how did I describe it? I made a note here. Okay, so just kind of generally, I love the way you use the prompt and the fact that the light flickers and it goes out, but there's another light down the way that is still on. So you create these little pockets, these little islands of light that our character is moving through. I thought that was so cool. I really enjoyed that. I don't know why. It just painted such a lovely picture for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, very cool setting.
It is a cool setting. And I think it's kind of funny how it is the opposite of what Successful Read was saying about dreams.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want to dream anymore. Sorry, I just skipped to the end. But
no,
it's like, this is no bueno.
This is no fun.
This is no fun.
Yeah.
Make it stop.
Yeah, and I think I agree with Richie.
Yeah.
If I never dreamed like while I was asleep again, like I feel like I would probably sleep better. I feel like my dreams actually keep me awake.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Gum.
But yeah, I don't want to dream anymore.
Yeah.
The description of this monster is so cool.
It is.
I really like that, and the way that you clue us into the fact that there's even a monster there. The first clue that we get, no one answered, but I began to notice a rhythmic breeze, hot and sticky against my skin.
Yeah.
That is lovely.
It is. If y'all could see the look on his face, lovely.
It is lovely.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice. Very nice turn of phrase.
Yeah, such an original way to clue us into breathing.
Yeah, I like where it says, "My cry curdled against the cacophony."
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, the alliteration is very effective. Yeah.
Yes, and also that I've never heard it described as a cry curdling. You know?
Curdling cry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
blood
curdling scream.
Blood curdling, yes.
Yeah.
But not in this way. My cry curdled.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I see the distinction. Yeah.
I've never heard that and I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do like the alliteration. Cry curdle cacophony.
And the formatting that you give us, just very simple things. Originally it's just like click click. And then click and then italicized click click.
Yeah.
I stopped, glanced at my pen. Yeah, like cluing us into the fact that this is different.
This
somehow.
ain't right.
Yeah, something's different. Right. And then we learned that I had only clicked it once that time. I was sure of it. I tested it again. Click, nothing. And then bold, click, click.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Ruh-roh.
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 The sound bounced off the houses with a sickly timbre.
Uh-huh.
Excellent use of timbre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The descriptions are wonderful. You move us through this, and then ultimately we get the like click, and
Yeah.
bold all caps.
Yeah.
And it's just this constant escalation to this point. And I love whenever he ditches his beer and ice cream and just runs for the next like island of light, like I mentioned. I love using the setting that way in these little pockets of light, like that's his safe place. Made me think like as a kid, the floor is lava. You know, if you're in the darkness, you're gonna get bit.
So I wonder, was this actually a dream or no? Well, because it says, and this, my friend, is where I wish I could leave you to sleep, perchance to dream. Alas, this is not the case. I must resist the urge until my tale is told. More alliteration there, I think. Until my tale is told. You must know what you face. So is this actually a dream or did this really happen?
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. And furthermore, I have to wonder, perchance to dream what dreams may come. That's the second time we get a Hamlet reference. To sleep, perchance to dream is in our second sentence. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Are we doing? Are we going Hamlet? Are we going Hamlet on this?
Do I want to take it? Because this just does not strike me as Hamlet.
No.
But just the same, we do get the ghost of Hamlet's father. Comes back and visits Hamlet. And it's terrifying to Hamlet at the time. And so it makes me wonder, are we doing something with Hamlet here?
Are we doing fucking Hamlet?
So I'm just curious, Richie, are we doing something with Hamlet here?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to dream anymore. Okay, this is what I wrote. Okay, this can't be coincidence. How does Hamlet play into this story? Hamlet's indecision and fear of the unknown and death. Maybe our character is no longer afraid of death, hence that I don't want to dream anymore. I don't know. I have no idea. Because so much of Hamlet is his like, he's just constantly contemplating on take action, don't take action, this procrastination. He's just torn.
Yeah.
And this dichotomy.
Yeah.
And all of this told through like this antithesis, to be, to not to be. And so that's where it's like, it feels like a theme. And we've had so many other, well, I say so many, we've had other stories this week that's kind of playing on this theme.
Yes.
So it made me wonder if Richie is doing something here.
I think Richie's trying to go Hamlet.
How though?
I don't know.
I don't either. I'm trying to figure it out. And it's eluding me.
He's going to show us.
But either way, it's a captivating story, and it got me thinking. But I don't know how to tie it in. But it's a lovely story.
It's very thought provoking.
It is. It is. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, our last story.
Ladies and gentlemen,
our last story by the ever elusive Snow Leopard.
Snow Leopard.
Ever elusive.
Ever elusive.
Ever elusive. Snow Leopard.
Snow Leopard.
Mille Mersoy.
Mille Mersoy with the darkness at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. Yes.
I'd just like to start out by saying that I'm going to be honest.
Go ahead.
With several of Mille Mersoy's stories so far, the first 2/3 of the story, I'm pissed off.
Explain.
I'm just like, what in the hell is he doing? What is happening? What in the hell? Like, my God, just freaking duh. But then I get to the end and I'm like, okay, that was clever.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. Yeah.
But I'm pissed off for a lot of the story. I'm serious.
That's interesting. I'm always just confused.
Okay.
This is where I'm at.
Okay.
But yeah, like the first half to 2/3 of a story of Mille Mersoy's, I just go into, it's like, I'm going to be confused for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it will pay off.
Yeah.
Because Mille Mersoy, you ultimately do pay us off at the end.
Well, I actually had that thought when I was reading this, like about halfway through, and I was just feeling so annoyed. And I was like, okay, so just keep going because it's probably going to make sense eventually,
Yeah. Yeah, because we're clearly doing something.
Right.
So anytime I jump into a story where I'm immediately confused,
Mm-hmm.
I just get in the car and I go with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, where are we going? Drive me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just let it lead me along. And frankly, it was a fun ride. The way we keep moving back and forth
Mm-hmm.
between this prison environment and this dad and his kid, and then back to prison, back to this dad. So I don't know if I just have Alzheimer's on the brain, but I kept thinking it's like, this sounds like somebody who's like the perspective of somebody who has Alzheimer's. It's like they have all these different things and they just intrude all these old memories and they're immediately placed in this setting.
Yes.
So that's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing that I really felt during this was that, well, it reminded you of Alzheimer's. It reminded me of when I'm dreaming, because I dream every night and I almost always remember my dreams, and they're often very weird. It to the point that honestly, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know if it really happened or not, or if it was just a dream.
Okay.
It happens semi often that I'll be like, did that person die? Did I say that to that person? Did this happen? Things that seem so close to reality that they could very much be the reality, you know?
Okay.
And so, not that my dream last night could have ever happened, because I would never do that.
Did you though?
I don't know
did
for
you
sure.
Straddle a
I
student?
may have. I'm not sure, but this story really, to me, described very well the state of mind I'm in with my dreams.
Okay.
Like going back and forth and being like, it looks so familiar. Oh, that must be my child in that picture, because I used to like to do that. And just like the sleeping, and like you go back to sleep, you close your eyes, and it's just like dream within dream within dream, you know?
Yeah, this kind of free association that you have, because at the end we learn that he's looking at a picture of himself as a child, and he's imagining it as his child, his son.
Yeah. So I felt like it was very, very well described, and it made me think that this is someone who maybe experiences dreams the same way I do, because the description was so accurate.
Yeah, but considering how many times that we're like, okay, this is real. Oh wait, no. Okay, this is real. Okay, this part is real.
Mm-hmm.
Like we keep getting told this is reality, but no, it's not reality.
Yeah.
At the very end, he gradually realizes that he's been in his apartment the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
By this point, I'm like,
really though?
Is he really
in
his apartment? So as often as we move through these different settings, I would like more. I would like more affirmation that this truly is reality. Well, it feels like the end of the movie Inception. Like the top is just spinning, and it's like, is it gonna fall over? Then credits roll. I'm like, oh, dang it!
That was so good. Okay, but here's the thing, though. In the last paragraph, I don't see any more like doubt, because in the other ones, he's like, well, I don't remember promising my son that I would take him to the beach.
True.
And then in prison, he's like, I don't think this is real. Or is it? You know? But here in the last paragraph, there's no doubt. It just seems very like, okay, this is where I am.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So that leads me to believe that really is where he is.
Yeah. Which is there a theme or a moral to this story?
Yeah. Because we kind of got the same message.
Is it kids or prison?
Yeah.
Kids are a prison.
Kids are a prison. Which, well, they are.
Yes, kids are prisons.
There's no.
They trap perfectly capable adults into taking care of them.
Right. Forever. For eternity.
Yeah.
Yep. Kids are definitely a prison. And so this makes me wonder what Mio Mersoy's views are on, having children.
Child rearing.
Siring a child. Never mind, that's not this.
Rearing.
Right, rearing, not siring. Siring is easy.
That's easy.
That's the easy part.
That's even kind of fun.
It's real fun.
Okay, yeah, there's a line here. It just says, it was all a dream, and I just highlight it and says, I kind of doubt that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. It's like,
don't think so.
At this point, Miomer Soy,
Okay.
I don't take anything that you write at face value.
It's
Yeah.
all deception all the time.
I just saw your comment. I said, okay, what are we doing here? Are kids a prison? And then Rachel just says, yes.
I mean, who's going to argue with me about that? Who's going to dispute that?
Thank you, Miomer Soy.
Thank you, Miomer Soy.
Captivating story as always.
As always.
And good to see you this week.
Yes. We missed you last week.
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is all of our stories for this week.
That's all?
That's all of them. That is 15 stories.
15.
15 stories. And 14 submitters, 3 of which
are new. Welcome.
And guys, I would be fascinated to know how you heard about us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I'm
just so we
too.
can keep the word out. And
I'm curious too. Oh, and guess what?
What?
I just saw, and I wonder if she's listening, but at my derby tournament this weekend, at the cleanup, I saw this girl that very much resembled a girl that I knew in the past. She was wearing a mask. And then I got close to her and I was like, that is her. And I was like, hey, is that you? And she was like, yeah. And we talked for a minute and then she was like, oh, hey, great job on the podcast, by the way. And
Whoa.
I was like, what? I was like, wait, you're listening to the podcast? How did you hear about it? And she was like, oh, I just saw that you shared it on your Facebook.
Oh, nice.
Which I shared it like when we first started.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, people use Facebook still?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Rad.
And I was very excited. So like we have listeners lurking out there that we don't even know about in the woodworks.
Yeah. They're just slowly crawling out.
Yeah, exactly. But friend, I'm not going to say your name because that would be a breach of confidentiality. But I would like to give you a shout out and say that you're amazing and yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. I'm excited to see you again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that moves us right into episode 13. 13.
How perfect.
How perfect
for
is
Halloween week.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that is so perfect.
It's so good.
That is so perfect.
Episode 13.
I love it.
And our prompt for episode 13, as mentioned, is a sound effect prompt. And you can go find said sound effect on our subreddit under episode 13.
Mm-hmm.
It's a drip.
Yeah.
That sounds funny.
Drip.
It's a drip.
It's a drip. I was kind of laughing because you were like, and you can go and I was like, what is he about
And you
to
can
say?
go fuck off.
I was like, okay, harsh.
No, you can go find it.
You can go find it.
You can go find it on our subreddit.
Yes.
Under episode 13.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, like I said, a sound effect prompt and the words for episode 13. Are you ready? Bracket.
Okay, go on.
What happened?
I don't know.
Did that break you?
Yeah, that just sounded really funny for some reason. Go ahead.
Revolutionary. Uncle. Meeting. And order. Got a definition for bracket?
Dang. Ooh. Okay. All right. So this can be a noun or a verb. It can be literal or figurative. I'm going to start with figurative.
Okay.
Figuratively, it can be like in a tournament, there's brackets.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like the section that you're in.
Yeah, like semifinals, quarterfinals, Like, or no, it's
not like that.
It's like a ranking.
It's like a huge graph.
Oh,
It's a huge.
That's what you said. It's like a.
That is what I said. It's like a huge graph. It's a flow chart.
Yeah. There it is.
It's like if you win, then you go into a certain bracket, but if you lose, you go into another bracket.
Okay, so that's figurative,
right? Literally, I feel like it's something that you like hang stuff on.
Yeah,
or something like a shelf.
Yeah, you use brackets to support something else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like there are brackets to hold up drapes or like curtains in front of your windows. You put up brackets for that. You put up brackets to hold up shelves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's a mechanism to support something that is hanging.
Okay. The problem is that I don't use brackets, so I forgot what it means.
Okay. All right. How about revolutionary?
Wow. Adjective, obviously.
Clearly.
Duh. Or it could be a noun.
It could be. You are a revolutionary.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. A revolutionary is a person doing a revolution or doing revolutionary things. So revolutionary, it's like something totally new, it's a game changer. That's how I like to think of it.
Yeah.
If something is revolutionary, it is a game changer. So for example, I just used this word a couple weeks ago whenever I discovered that cat who its owner puts, I forgot the cat's name, but its owner puts the camera on its collar, the GoPro.
Yeah.
And you can see it running around fucking up other cats.
You showed us that video.
Yes.
That's a screen, by the way. If you haven't seen cat POV, like out in the wild.
Yeah.
Cats are just fucking shit up.
Wonderful. But when I watched the first one, I was like, this is revolutionary. It changes. It's like you can suddenly see life from a cat's point of view.
Yeah.
You know,
that's huge. Literally cat POV.
It literally is. That's huge. It's revolutionary in our understanding of animals. So, it's like life-changing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll buy that.
It's thing-changing.
Okay.
Certain idea changing. It's novel.
Yes, novel. I love that. Yeah, it's a novel thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something that has not a new approach, something that hasn't been seen or done before, something that changes the way things are done.
Yes.
For example, the printing press was revolutionary.
It was. The cotton gin.
Oh, was revolutionary. Well, I mean, okay. Yeah. Not as much as the printing press, but...
The aeroplane.
Yes, was revolutionary. The World Wide Web, it's like a paradigm shifter.
Yeah.
I think of something revolutionary being a paradigm shifter.
How about uncle?
Oh, uncle. Okay. Uncle is, interestingly, it is a noun.
It is.
And it is the brother of your mother or your father or the husband of your aunt.
Yes. And that's about it.
Well, also you could say uncle.
Oh, yeah. Say uncle.
Uh-huh. Say uncle.
Say uncle.
Say uncle.
Or what was that movie? The Man from Uncle. Is it a Guy Ritchie movie? I
don't know.
Is it a Guy Ritchie movie?
Don't know.
Let's say it's a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, it's a Guy Ritchie movie.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a hyper-British movie, The Man from Uncle, but that's an abbreviation. Anyway.
So never mind that whole spiel.
Yeah, I'm going to cut all of that.
You don't gotta. It was entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and, sorry.
Whoa.
Oh,
I'm scared.
I want to tell everyone, I can't find the word for this, which is annoying. But there is a specific word for it that I learned in a linguistics class. But there are words which are by nature can only be male or female. Can only describe a male or a female. And there's not very many of those in English.
No, there's really not.
But uncle is one of them that can only describe a male.
Yeah. Yeah, like uncle, brother.
Mm-hmm. Father.
Grandfather.
King.
Shut up.
Shut
You
the
shut
hell
up. I said it first.
No.
I said it first.
No.
I said it first. No.
No. I want to see the.
I'm walking away. I'm walking away. I said it first.
Okay. Wow.
No, I'm just
He just took off his earphones, and I thought he was gonna come over and like beat the shit out of me. I was like,
nope, it's mine.
Dang.
I said king. I said king first.
All right. Yeah. Words like that. Anyway. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. How about order?
Order. So this can be a noun or a verb, and it can mean a trillion zillion things.
Yeah, like all things.
It means everything.
Yeah.
Any word you can just replace it with order. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Table. Order.
Order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Contact.
Order.
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 Lost.
Order.
Yeah.
Anything. Okay.
Pulp.
Oh, did I say noun and verb? Yes. So order. It can be a verb to put things in order. I like to order my books according to letter or according to author. It can mean to order something at McDonald's, order something at Amazon, order someone to do something, to give a command. Do you want to add to this?
There are so many definitions of orders.
Yeah.
There's orders like military orders.
Mm-hmm.
There's orders like order, genus, and species in biology. There are orders, the quality, nature, and importance of something, like the order.
Ooh, yeah.
There is the historical a society of knights bound by a common rule, like an order of people.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many definitions
There's a
of order.
zillion.
Holy cow.
You guys figure it out.
Order is a very versatile word.
It is.
Use it however you want.
Yeah.
It'll probably work just fine.
And brownie points to whoever uses it in the most interesting and unique way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. If you want to be like these wonderful writers and submit your story to You Write, head on over to our subreddit at reddit.com/r/youwritepod.
If you're unable to submit a story this week, that's fine. You can help out by reading and commenting on other people's stories.
Each time you post a story or leave a comment on yours or someone else's submission, you increase your chances of having your story read on the podcast.
You can also reach us at youwritepod@gmail.com.
Oh my God.
You liked it.
If you like our show and want to help support us, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/youwrite.
If you are unable to donate, that's fine. You can help us by sharing the podcast with other writers and non-writers alike.
If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you know as soon as new episodes are available.
Also, be sure to leave us a rating and review in your podcatcher of choice.
We will be reading one review on each episode, so be sure to get creative. So, new submitters and new listeners, go get us some reviews.
Yeah.
And if you need inspiration, check out Nathaniel McLean's post on Apple Podcasts,
which is inspiring.
It's inspired, I feel.
Yeah. And inspired.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Get creative with it.
And remember, join us next week on You Write,
a podcast where you write.
When
You write.
I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for summertime girls or something like that.
Okay.
You know that jam?
It rings a very vague bell. What is that?
Well, I heard it from the Highwaymen.
Oh.
But I think it's originally Frank Sinatra.
Oh. See y'all next week.
Bye.